Good afternoon, Instagram. I hope you're doing gloriously today. We're supposed to have an interview at 2:30. Was waiting to hear and did not hear back from the person who was supposed to be interviewed. Said they could do it. I understand. Not bothered or upset about that. Just it sounds like a lot going on. So what I'm doing today is something my wife encouraged me to do, which I think would be good. I have a couple of words about my life and some thoughts about here and now with regards to brain injury recovery and how it relates to my life right now. And then my wife encouraged me to do a Q&A. So I'm going to just give some thoughts. And then I'll open it up if anybody's got any questions about brain injury recovery, about my personal story, about my personal experience with having a brain injury and having a stroke. So for me, many of you know when I was 17 years old, I was involved in a car accident. I was a senior in high school, and my 95 Accord was involved in a head-on collision with a Suburban. Accord doesn't win that battle. Oh, yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Happy and blessed Sunday to you as well. So Core doesn't win that battle. I, for a subdural hematoma, a stroke of my occipital lobe, a ruptured spleen, and a collapsed lung. I was in a coma for about 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. And I did inpatient till about that almost at the end of that December, and then outpatient till about April of the following year. And the thoughts that I wanted to give you guys today, and then, like I said, open up for questions about brain injury and brain injury recovery, is I am absolutely happy to answer any questions that I can offer, or offer any answers that I can give you. But when I was so for me, one of the hardest things after my brain injury is that I went, I was one of the top, performers as far as, school and life went, all APs, president of drama club. I was in the debate team. Me and my partner were winning tournaments. I was in Model UN. I was winning Most Honorable Delegate and all of that. I was super involved at church. I was just doing it all and really feeling like the top of the top. And then I get hit with this brain injury, and I go from the top. It feels like for me to the bottom. I'm struggling to pass my regular physics class, which arrogantly prior to my injury, I would be like, this is no problem. I'm actually taking regular physics as a break, because I have so many other APs. So I'm actually doing fine. I was, easily just no problem. And then I come back after my accident and I am struggling. And so, I always struggle with feeling like I want others to see me as smart, that I want to be respected, that I want to be, absolutely. You know what? I'll go ahead and answer that. I can absolutely go ahead and relate to that. So for me, absolutely overstimulation. Can 100% relate to that. For me, I guess I would say it's more if I put too much on my plate. You know what I mean? If I'm in too much on my plate, then if I just have too much going on, I just get worn out, and I feel like can feel like in a fog, because I just have just so much I'm trying to keep track of. As far as overstimulation in another area, okay, so but I had a hard time getting bogged down a little. Absolutely. All the little details. I think for me, and this relates to the overstimulation question. So I yeah, I totally struggle with overstimulation because you just too much going on, and I struggle to keep up. And as far as getting down to the details, I totally get it. Getting bogged down in the little details. I think for is it a focus issue, or is it just keeping track of all of those issues for you? Because I can totally relate if they're a focus issue. Oh, essay, trying to write an essay. You're trying to write an essay about it. I totally, quotes, finding the quotes. Oh, I totally get that. Because you're struggling with that. Totally, I totally understand. For you trying to go back and read and carefully analyze. Oh my gosh, you definitely, I think that was another hard thing for me. Many good ones. So, well, I mean, the thing that I would do is, this is what I did, which is not what I should recommend as a professor. But sometimes when I was really struggling with something that I was writing, especially in my first year of college, when I was really struggling after my injury, I would go and look at good quotes from I would just Google that online from that chapter, because I would do my reading, and then this is maybe for you, is like I would always, whenever I was doing this, I would always feel compelled to do my work and do my reading. And then I was like, I'm really still struggling with this after I did my work. Then I would check the SparkNotes stuff. I'm not going to lie. I struggle with approval and struggle with, I've highlighted so much, and absolutely. And so that's the thing I would say is look at what other people say are the important necessary quotes. It's not cheating, okay? It's not cheating. How old was I? I was 17. It was back in 2007 when I had my accident. And I had my injury. So it was back in 2007. And 17 years old. So literally, I had it in October 7th of 2007. Oh. Well, Fiona, absolutely. Oh, I miss you as well. I need to come up. Need to come up to see Reinhardt. Absolutely, no, Fiona. Much glorious student. I was like, hold on. I seen this and I was like, okay, hold on. Seeing the names, I was like, oh yes, Fiona, glorious. I am 32. Yeah, 32 years old, and yeah, Fiona. Oh, glorious! The 30th of April or May? I'm guessing April. Yeah, well, April. Yeah, okay. Then, oh my gosh. Okay, then let me talk to the wife, because that sounds like that would be glorious. Sounds like that would be glorious to see. And everyone. April 30th, Reinhardt University. Fiona Garner is going to be presenting glorious music. 7:30. There we are. Absolutely. And then yeah, Fiona. I mean, that's because that's the thing I would say. That what really helped me navigate college is utilizing online resources. I would say that about, because I was thinking about your essay question, because I was like, English professor and me don't want to tell you because I know this might be frowned upon, but it's like, you know what? Absolutely. You got to do what you got to do to survive. Absolutely. Jane Austen is glorious. Absolutely. Writing powerful female characters who can actually, stand up to the patriarchy. I mean, Elizabeth Bennet, that's where it's at. Glorious. Glorious. Glorious, glorious. An A&E version is the best version of the movie version or adaptation of the book. Colin Firth, Darcy, all day, every day. Other thoughts and questions related to brain injury recovery, life itself. Oh yeah, I gotta check out the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. That sounds glorious. That sounds absolutely glorious. Oh gosh, absolutely burnout. I totally understand that. And it's hard, I think for me, especially post-injury, I had to work so much harder than I had to before. Because before I was, I did a ton, but I did a lot of stuff the night before. And absolutely, 100%. Absolutely. Is I think for me, I had to do it the night before, and then I just had to work. I was like, you know what? After my injury, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to work twice as hard, but I couldn't give up on being where I wanted to be. I couldn't give up on being that, high achieving student. And so, burnout, absolutely. And I didn't cope with it the best ways before, which is to just say, I'm going to keep pushing until this tells me to stop. And so I think the best thing you can do is figure out, is to say to yourself, to prioritize what is an immediate fire and what is a small fire. That makes sense. Like, I have to have my class for tomorrow prepared. That's an immediate fire. The grading of their final essays, that's a fire, but that's a small fire. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And so that's what I would say is I think for me, at first, after my injury, they all felt like forest fires. Everything was an immediate concern. And so everything had to be dealt with that moment. And then I think the other thing is I had to realize what is actually a fire. You know what I mean? I had to realize that, you know what, if I don't read today and get sleep instead, that's okay. And that as long as this is not a pattern of my academic performance, which it never was, I had to realize, the professor actually, you got to do tomorrow. Well, then I think the thing is what you got to do is you got to say, I'm going to focus for 2 hours or an hour and take a break. That's something else that I had to learn to do, is to say, I'm going to focus for this amount of time, and then I'm going to give myself a break, because honestly, you will be less productive if you push all the way through. If you try to do 12 hours straight, you'll be less productive and will actually get less done than if you do 2 hours break, 2 hours break, 2 hours break. That's something that I just had to learn. Absolutely. Naps, you got to use naps. Absolutely. And then I think that was the most helpful thing to do. Absolutely. And then as far as the release date of the book, I saw that one up there. Well, I actually just spoke with my glorious publisher and editor this week, or this past week, and well, we're trying to nail down a date. It's taking a hot second with stuff unrelated to me. Oh yeah, I had a book. Oh, thank you very much. I did. It's my memoir, Getting Better. A story about the first 8 months after my accident and my recovery. And it's Springer Mountain Press. And I had a great conversation with my publisher, and so that's coming. That's forthcoming. I think I did not realize how long books take. So not only to write, I got that took about a year, but then to get published takes even longer. So there is a forthcoming date, but I'm feeling very, very positive that about my publisher and my relationship with the publisher. And I encourage anyone here, if you are thinking about writing your story, write. Oh, thank you. Because that's what I would say is, I did not realize how many people would connect with my brain injury. Oh, glorious. That makes me very happy. Glorious, Fiona. Yeah, that's what I love to hear. And, and I totally get the stress, And that's something that I did not realize for so long as a person. And I'll say this and then offer any other questions. I did not realize for how long as a person I didn't realize how much stress I was putting on myself. How much I put higher expectations on myself than maybe others had for me, and not in a bad way, Not that others had lower expectations, not like people thought bad of me, but I didn't realize that I wasn't letting anyone down. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. In fact, I was kind of worried about that, Van. I was very worried about that because I really struggle to keep up with the comments and the questions when I'm doing an interview. So I was kind of worried about how we would do it when I was, if I was going to do a Q&A. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'd love to. Anyone have other questions, comments related to me, brain injuries, strokes, stroke recoveries, disability? Absolutely, that'd be glorious. That sounds awesome. Please send that to me. That would be glorious. Because I am all about positivity for the spectrum community, 100%. Well, thank you very much. I'd love to connect with you, retired hockey mom. If you, I understand the hard stuff, and I'd love to talk with you and love to have you on here, because this is, I love to connect with people about this stuff and love to connect about the hard stuff, It's funny. I guess good old Greg Graham. I'll give him a shout out. AVM superhero, glorious human being, said once that he feels bad for people who don't have brain injuries or don't have strokes. Um, so I have left side weakness and I have vision loss. So as far as my stroke goes, as far as my I guess the hematoma goes, I have issues with short-term memory, balance, and I think it's part of the stroke too because my whole left side is weaker, and so I have to walk with a cane now, but I mean I've made great leaps and bounds, but I think the things I'll always struggle with are vision, reaction time, short-term memory, and balance. So, but I think at the end of the day, I've learned to cope with the things that are staying, if that makes sense. I've reached a place where I have healed to the level that I enjoy my life and I cope with the difficulties. Reaction time. Oh yeah. So that's why for me, I've tried getting back to driving several times, and then ultimately just said, no, this is just not for me. So I think with the vision and the reaction time, I was like, you know what? Thank God for Uber and Lyft. Yeah. Because driving is not going to happen. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing is like some people, and this is the weird thing about brain injuries and strokes is some people have them and then they get right back to driving. And I tried and nope. And good to know that you're there as well, Van and retired hockey mom. Yeah. Well, I think it's so much is coming at you all the time when you're driving. Like, unless you live in, like, nowhere, which I don't think most people do, but it's like, I mean, I live in Metro Atlanta here, and it is, I mean, forget about it. There's so much stuff coming at you all the time. Yeah, so no, oh yeah. Oh yeah. And so I think I've learned to be okay with that. And I think the hard thing to do is learning to ask for what you need, you know. So for instance, saying, hey, I can't get a ride at this time, can we do another time? If it's a meeting or a work event or something, I think it's also asking people for rides, which is hard, you know. Because while you do use Uber and Lyft, I try not to use it all the time, because it's kind of gotten a little expensive. Okay, good. Well, hey, as long as the hubby's gonna drive, that's good. Well, you know, and at the end of the day, though, I think the thing is, do you need to do it? Or that's something I had to realize, do you need to do it or do you want to do it? That was a hard thing for me. I really wanted to drive, and so I convinced myself that I needed to drive. Self-advocacy is really tough because you don't want to be seen as different and you don't want people to judge you. And then, you know, I just had to realize at a certain point, freaking judge me. This is who I am. So, And if somebody wants to judge me, then I don't gotta talk to them, you know. I was talking with my wife this week, and we're talking about how sometimes people talk to me a little bit of a slower speed when they first meet me, because they see the cane and they think, oh, he must be real slow. So, people judge you, and Cheeto, yes, it's very expensive. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, retired hockey mom. What was the job? Because I think that would be really hard. Because I had that worry about going to college after I had my accident, and just like the thought of this thing, I've wrapped myself in identity and not being able to have that. And I think that the hard thing is finding what's your meaning and what's your purpose. Oh yeah, that's got to be hard, because that's post-accident. That sounds like that would be really hard. And that's where I think, oh, I'm sorry. Well, then so I wonder, can you volunteer? Oh, and Cheeto, glorious. Because that's the thing that I'm wondering. Because retired hockey mom, I think somebody who would be great to talk to is if you've not talked to Greg Graham, AVM superhero, because he was a man who was pharmaceutical sales, like doing great, really focused on the work, and then obviously he had to stop that, but he's found a great meaning and purpose in helping out stroke survivors and sharing his story. And so maybe, I don't know, maybe that might be for you, is how can you use this moment to launch you into the next one? But I understand missing the puppies. That's where I'm sorry. Everyone send retired hockey mom all the puppy memes that you have. Any other thoughts, questions, or wonderings, or worries? Or anybody need the support or relate, or somebody to relate to on something? So he's on Instagram. It's AVM superhero. His name is Greg Graham. Cheeto, I am doing great. I've been very, very blessed that God has provided for me for the summer. And then just been feeling stressed because wife and I are trying to find a house, and just saw one today, and really trying to really just trying to find that. So, but feeling really good overall. Just little stresses, but praying and believing that that's going to happen. And you're most welcome, retired hockey mom. You're most welcome. If there are no worries or questions, I wanted to give you guys, give you all this thought, and this feeling is like, oh, thank you, Cheeto. Thank you. I'm believing that God is leading and directing, and He's led us on this place to try and find something. So I'm believing that that will be fulfilled, hoping. But thank you for that. But I was leaving to this. So I was talking about, when I was in high school and I just, being smart, quote unquote, or being, academically successful, respected, or feeling like a person of promise was a huge part of my identity. And then I had this car accident, and I have this brain injury, and it feels like all that disappears, It feels like that goes away because I'm no longer the smart one. I'm no longer the person that people look to. And then I'm, by the grace of God and by the blessing of God, I'm able to go to college, and then I'm able to go to grad school. I'm able to go to grad school again. So I get 2 masters and bachelors, and still feeling like in search of something. And then I after some struggles with high school teaching and going in the retail world for an in-between job while I figured things out, I eventually end up in teaching college. And then I end up getting my dream job of being a full-time lecturer at Kennesaw State University. And it is wonderful, and it is a huge blessing. But the funny thing is you think these external things will fix internal problems. Yes, I have this job. Now I don't have to worry about, I've been so blessed, so very blessed. God has been very good. And that's also part of that burnout thing that we were talking about earlier. Just strive. But, you think these external things will fix it. Your internal things, once I have that, my insecurities will disappear. And of course not. Of course not. External things cannot fix an internal problem. So that's the thing I'd say is I think as brain injury survivors, stroke survivors, or just as human beings, we all look for external things to fix us. We're always looking to get better. That's something I talk about in my memoir, getting better. That, we're all chasing getting better. Getting better. If I can get this, then I'll get better. If I can get to this level, then I'll feel better. And I don't think recovery is a bad thing, but I think the getting better mindset will mess you up. Because, as awesome and glorious as my job is, and it is, and I love it. I love being a college professor. I love teaching English 1101 and 1102. Playwriting. I love teaching these things, and I love my students. But I didn't make the insecurities go away. That didn't fix the internal problem. And I've had to very much work on that myself, of loving myself and seeing my value as a child of God's apart from anything else. And that my injury did not ruin that. So I don't need an external thing to fix that. That's my thoughts for the day. I hope that is helpful to somebody. But I love all of you for being on here. I love all of you for asking questions. I love all of you for the support. Go see Fiona's show on the 30th, I believe, at Reinhardt University. I'm gonna definitely try and be there. You guys are glorious and wonderful. I hope you all have a glorious day. I will be back on next Sunday. I think we're good to go for another interview. I thank you guys for this Q&A. Just have a glorious day, and I will see you all next week. Have a glorious one.